I get asked a lot of questions on the YouTube channel. James, how do you manage this? How do you grow your business? How do you make enough profit to keep the business going? Well, if you go through all the comments on my YouTube channel, you'll see numerous questions, and I've compiled some of my favorite ones over the last 28 days, and I'm going to do my best to answer them here for you now. I think you can swipe and deploy some of those ideas. Let's get into it. So let me just explain what I do on my YouTube channel. If you comment on any of my videos, it's me that replies to them. I'm a busy chap and I sometimes can't go into the full detail and give the right answers that I want to give because life gets in the way. I'm going to do my best now to go into a little bit more detail than the few lines that I might comment. So Gareth3564 asked me this: when managing the systems put into place, how do you know if the system is a good one or a bad one that needs restructuring? Surely you can put a lot of faith into the wrong master of 10,000 hours without realizing it. Many thanks, James, Gareth. And I put a link in the video description of where this question has come from, where I was talking about bringing in other people to help the business. It's really about thinking who, not how, because I think a lot of business owners are thinking, how can I do this? How can I do that? Well, I just think, who can I get to do that for me and buy in their expertise? And really mastery begins at 10,000 hours. So, I was talking about us making YouTube videos. We've got really good at that because we put the 10,000 hours of practice in. And so I can't do 10,000 hours on everything that I do as a business. So I need to bring other people in. I think what Gareth is asking me, if I put someone in place that's the wrong person, what do I do? Well, yes, we make mistakes with our hires. It's not completely accurate, but what doesn't get measured doesn't get managed. And so I put measurement tools in place to see if those people that are being put in place are actually effective. Having a monthly set of management accounts or a monthly profit and loss, I'm not relying on annual accounts, is the first easy step to measuring the success of your business. Most business owners rely on their accountant to tell them how well their business is doing. Really, the business owner should be telling their accountant how well the business is doing, and then the accountant managing the tax affairs. This is a big step change that just most people don't do. So I produce monthly management accounts, have monthly board meetings to measure what's going on in the business. Now, if there are challenges in the business, this is one of the problems of being a business owner and a CEO of a business. I have to go in and sort out all the challenges, all the problems. That's where I am. So it's not great fun really being me. If I see a set of management accounts that say this isn't doing very well and I haven't got faith in the management, I've then got to go in and be not just the figurehead owner of the business, but actually the managing director, the CEO, and look to manage the current management team out of the business. I think you need to hire slow and fire fast, because you get that gut feeling after 90 days whether someone isn't the right fit for the business. And it's your ability to pull that plaster off and get that thing sorted out so that the business can start building again. When I bought Rossi Ice Cream, this is a ice cream company, I bought it was losing hundreds of thousands of pounds a year. The current management team, when I bought it, weren't strong enough. So I went in there, dived in there, spending a lot of time trying to sort it out, had to re-engineer the model of the business, is one of the things that I constantly do. And by re-engineering the model to turn it into a profitable model, bring in different management team. And sometimes I recruit people into a position that aren't in the right position there, and I can put them into another one of my companies and they soar. And I think a lot of people over-expect stuff from people without giving them the right training, the right guiding, and the right coaching. So that's my job really, is I see that I'm here to serve my management team. I'm here to make them better. I'm here to go and learn new strategies and tactics and then coach them to be the best versions of themselves. If you don't educate people, you don't motivate people. So you've got to educate your team to be the best version of themselves. In effect, if I could really narrow down, you've got to be the best teacher. Sometimes the student doesn't want to learn and they're not good. You've got to suspend them or even expel them or move them to a different class so they blossom in a different subject. Right, at SPX3RJM, it's got a Mufasa profile picture from The Lion King. It's great content, James. A few questions. How do you manage the lieutenants, James? Do you have a monthly, quarterly meeting with them? Also, do you give them a bonus on the success of the business? Yeah, look, this is a great question. You've got to manage the lieutenants. And there's a couple of things that I do. When we take over a new business, I'm more heavily involved. Or if there's a business that's not doing as well as I'd like it to be, I dive in there and spend more of my time. There's two things that I really make sure happen. The monthly board meeting. This is really about the numbers and reviewing what's what's happened in the last month, and do we need to make any big structural changes to the business? Where are we planning on taking the business, or are we in crisis mode, and do we really need to rethink our business plan? But then we've got the weekly meetings, and these are very important. I like to follow the lion methodology here. Weird as your profile picture is a lion, but the lion methodology is this. What did you do last week? What issues have you got at the moment that hasn't helped you achieve what we said we was going to do last week? What are the opportunities in the business right now? And what are you going to do next week? And you do that every single week. And it's just a really simple framework to keep people on track. What did you do last week? What issues have you got? What opportunities are there right now? And what are you going to do next week to keep moving the business forward? But this all works when you've got a big vision plan, a big war plan of where you want the business to go. I think a lot of business owners are really just battle planning, like fighting battle after battle, not really knowing what their war plan is, not really knowing where they want to take the business. And actually your lieutenants, your key management team are so much more effective if they know what the long-term plan is, so they can plan the short-term stuff much more effectively to meet the long-term goals of the business. And on that question about rewards, it's really interesting. Look, when you're a small business and you're growing a business up, your cash burn rate's really high. So how do you reward people? Well, you tell them, look, in 5 years' time, we're going to achieve this and you could be a part of it. Or we really try and promote within. So as the business grows, we promote within. You can't just keep on giving people bonuses and salary increases as if you're a small business, because you're burning so much cash and you're probably not even paying yourself. So you need to find other ways of doing that. Maybe you could give people extra days off, or let them manage their time themselves. All these things are things that people really appreciate. Another thing that you can do is make sure that you reward people by keeping them in the click. Now, I use this sort of KPI rule. There's 3 KPIs that you should be focusing on with your lieutenants, keeping a monthly profit and loss, tracking average customer value, and your labor to turnover ratio. But the cultural KPIs that really keep people ingrained in the success of the business is keep people in the click, keep people in the gang so that they understand what's going on. How do we do that? We keep them informed and keep them inspired. If you're inspired about the business, then your team's going to be inspired about the journey and they want to stay with you to drive that business forward. At Mr. Hayden TV said this: hello, James. How successful do you think you would be if you only focused on just one of the businesses rather than the 17 that you've currently got? This is a really great question, and one I actually get asked quite a little bit. My honest answer is I don't think I'd be here, because if I stayed just being a kids entertainer, which was my first business and running an entertainment business, I would have probably burnt out. I would have had no time to see my friends and family because I would have been working every weekend, and I was really building a profitable job at that stage. I was swapping time for money. So I scaled out of that, and then I went into running an events business, and I found that very hard work, made money, but I wasn't building what I call a proper business. I was, again, just building a profitable job. I then went into family entertainment centers, and that was probably my first business that worked without me. But I scaled that up to having 10 venues. But that business, relied on weather, it being rain and cold, to make loads of money. So it was a model that was good but needed fixing. And that's when I opened Day Nursery. So now I've got 2 businesses that work as one ecosystem. The Day Nursery's filled up very quickly because I had the play center business. I then went and started a property business, and I tried to buy properties that my businesses could trade from. So my property company benefited from my operating companies. We're creating an empire here, an ecosystem where the cash flows within. I started a food services business because I was buying £1.6 million worth of food and ice cream a year. So I bought an ice cream company, a food services business, and that 2 million of cash that was going to others then stayed within my ecosystem. I think there's 2 answers to your question. I think you're absolutely right. Follow one course until successful and have focus on the key business. But once you've got one business doing really well, you're going to have management teams that want to get promoted. If I didn't grow the business and start all these other businesses, I probably would have lost some of my good talent because they want to be promoted, and I can go and offer them other opportunities. So there's that. Being able to promote people and give them new opportunities because the business has grown. Secondly, create a system where you create multiple revenue streams within an existing empire. So all my businesses look like 17 different businesses, but largely they're all connected. Now, we bought this hotel. My food services business grew overnight because we bought the hotel. My seminar business now didn't have to hire any function space room because we just used our hotel. So that's what we try and do. We try and buy businesses that fold in. We can then give our management team more opportunities, and that's just the model I like. And also, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I like doing new stuff. You know, I don't really like staying a steady Eddie. I like buying things to make great YouTube content. So you're a little bit right. Maybe I should focus on one thing, but I don't think I would have been here, because when something goes wrong, I've always been able to lean on the other businesses to see me through. So they've all helped each other out. Hope that answers the question. At Umaramaran7925 said, "Hi James, I recently acquired a commercial premises. I'm going to start retailing bespoke kitchens. What do you think about kitchens?" I said, very upfront, I have no experience in this sector. I can tell you the things that I don't like about it. I don't like businesses where you start from zero each month. What does that mean? Well, if you install a kitchen for someone, they don't need you again next week to make another kitchen. You've got to rely on referrals and recommendations. And whilst that will work for lots of businesses, and I accept that that's been happening nearly since the day of time began, I just don't want to be in that sector. I want to do all the work to find a customer and allow them to buy from us again and again and again. I call this the rule of 4. If you can find businesses where people buy from you in 4 succession really quickly, they create habit and they think about you, and then they forget about the rest of the market. If like a school, you go to school on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. By Thursday, even on your first day, you start knowing people in the class. The parents know the rest of the parents. Habit is built up, and we want to try and get that in our business. That's why supermarkets are so successful, because people keep on returning and returning. That is what I don't like about the bespoke kitchen model. Now, I'm not saying that you can't make any money from that, but you've got to keep on building pipeline to make sure you've got new sales every single month. But there is a fact here that it could be highly profitable, because if someone has a really nice bespoke kitchen for 50 or 70,000 pounds, you're going to make a lot of profit out of that 50 to 70,000 pounds rather than £100 spent in a supermarket. But for me, I just like the models where you get a little bit of money from a lot of people a lot of the time, because that's the stress buster in business. Because what you want to do is keep the cash flowing to keep the business going. I don't hate that you want to do bespoke kitchens. It's just not for me. I prefer the models that I've just spoke about. At Nick6394 said, "Great episode, James. Thumbs up emoji. How has the rise in interest rates affected you?" Now, this has been astronomical for me as a business owner. Yeah, it's cost me probably another £380,000 on all my loans, but I wasn't bothered about that, because shipping rates have all come down and the pound's got stronger. So everything I was importing, I'm actually still saving, because I'm saving about £500,000 a year on my currency conversions and my shipping rates compared to the last few years in COVID. But the real one, this is the big danger for business owners in the consumer sector where I operate a lot of, it's your customers. If their mortgages have gone up £500-700 a month as they come out of their deals, they've got less disposable income, and that's less cash going around the economy. But here's the thing. I get why they've done it, because we needed to get inflation down, and inflation is coming down. So you have to think about it. Look, things are getting cheaper. We import lots of food products and we buy lots of food products for our ice cream company. We've seen the price of our ingredients come rocketing down, but we've seen our loans go up. I think if we look at it holistically over a 5-year period, some years you win on something and some years you lose on another. But what I don't like about interest rates is consumers having less money in their pocket. So yes, as a business, we've got to manage it, but we've got many levers we can pull to keep us profitable. I just want my customers to have more money in their pocket to come and spend with us and spend in the economy. At Space Star 1, he said, "Hi James, how would you start at age 30 and broke?" It's a great question. It's difficult for me because I feel I've got some knowledge which gives me a competitive advantage. But if I was broke and I was 30, and that did happen to me, I would use my knowledge of sales and marketing. I would go out and build a business that relied on a swapping time for money basis that made sure that I got more than the average hourly rate. So I would, be an entertainer again. I would go out there and charge £100 an hour, and then I would build up them hundreds of pounds an hour, and then I would import stock from another country that I could then wholesale out and build a Shopify site, get it on Amazon, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, and I would choose products that had high margin where I could build a brand and then I could wholesale as well. I've actually made a video about this. It's a really cracking good video that would explain how I'd start again. I think I can put a link above my head. Go and check it out because it actually breaks down the process bit by bit. It's probably my favorite video that I've ever made, and it didn't get enough views. So go and check it out because I think it'll really help you. Anton5809 said, great staff. Can you please also explain how exactly you build great management staff, especially in the beginning of your journey? Right away, skillful person or unskillful person, and then nurture them to become skillful. I think there's multiple questions in here, but let's try and break it down. How did I find my key initial people? I think you've got to be a great storyteller of telling the journey that you're going to go on, because people get attracted to that story and they want to be part of it. So if you've got an infectious personality, an infectious desire to be successful, people will want to join you on that. I think I've also been one of those people that's very good at saying, look, this is where we're going to go. It might take 3 or 4 or 5 years, but please come and join me on the journey and look where you could be if you do that. So I've always done that. And I managed to poach Aaron, who's still my group MD, from a much bigger company with much bigger security than I had, but I gave him responsibility. I gave him the power to help us make things happen. And I still do that. I give people responsibility. And I think people really buy into that. I think a lot of people in the very beginning don't want to give stuff up. They micromanage too much. And I do think you need to manage people really effectively to get the most out of them. But if you get good people, there's no point in just telling them what to do. So there's 2 levels of staff. There's these great senior management people that you should just let run the business. And then you've got your technicians that need much more micromanaging. And I think people try and micromanage great people, where micromanagement needs to be down here, not up there. And I've always empowered people to be even able to make mistakes, to take a risk, create a process where risk is allowed as long as it's calculated. And then you've got to train them. You've got to continue to get them books, take them to seminars. If you're making key decisions, get them to help make the key decisions. I believe in a process in my business called democratic dictatorship. So we run as a democracy. My management team can often override my decision. Every now and then I'll use a dictatorship approach and say, no, this is what we're going to do because I absolutely believe in it. But if I do that too much, no one really wants to join me on the journey. So you've got to create a process of democracy, but you want to have good people in place so that you benefit from 10 brains rather than your own, and tell people that's the process they're going to go through. A lot of entrepreneurs and business owners think it's about paying people loads of money. It's not. It's not, because in the beginning, you don't have any money. How did Apple start? How did Mattel start? Those 2 companies, one that owns Barbie, one that's the biggest computer company in the world, both started in garages, and both of the founders managed to get people to help them because they sold the story and they recruited on attitude first and then skill set second. I think a lot of people just look for the skill set and don't think about the attitude and don't get the culturally right people in the business. So to summarize it, you've got to be a great storyteller. You've got to infuse and excite people so they want to come on the journey with you. Hope you really liked this video. I want to do more of these. Do you think it's a good idea? If you've got some questions you'd like to ask me about growing your business, head it in the comments below. And please make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. We want to get that subscriber rate up so we can help more people. Go on, subscribe. See you in the next video.